It has been a while. It hasn't actually been that long, but it just feels like forever because we were in this cadence of like we doing 2 a week. Spring is normally the busiest time of the year for us because we typically have several things out. If you've been watching the show, we've been covering Born Again, we've been covering Invincible, we've been covering The Boys. I mean, it's just been all sorts of stuff. And now that it's summertime, the movies are about to hit off. But we had a bunch of stuff going on our end. Mm-hmm. We had MomoCon. You went on a cruise. You came back from the cruise with some cruise crud, which is why he's gonna be a little stuffy on this episode. But we were just chomping at the bit to get back to you guys and discuss all the things that have happened in the world of comics and superhero movies and shows and entertainment and all of those other incredible things that we all know and love.
It always seems to happen, and it's pretty interesting. It seems like for the most part, whenever one of us is gone, the other one is also gone.
Yeah.
And then not only are we both gone at the same time, so it's impossible to fill in, but it's also the week when something happens that we really want to cover.
Every time, yeah.
Yeah, so like the last time it was the Born Again finale.
Yes, we were both gone for that.
We were both gone for that, and then excuse me, and then it was the Boys finale.
Yeah,
we were both out of town for that,
which we're finally here to cover tonight for you guys.
Finally, so yeah, it's been it's been a little while, and I said I'm gonna try my best to live and survive through this review to get it out, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we got some great content coming up for you guys. We're going to be going to see the Mando and Grogu movie, which is another thing that kind of we couldn't get right when it came out because I was at MomoCon. So we're going to be watching that this coming Wednesday, and we will be reviewing that for you guys to kind of catch up a little bit on the world of all things. Did you ever start Solo? Or not Solo. The Mall Show.
The Mall Show. Actually, I have not yet. I need to.
So I'm gonna tell you, I binged it in a day.
Wow, the whole thing.
Yeah, I watched the whole thing. Like,
how many episodes is it?
It's only 10 episodes. They're only 30 minutes a piece, so you can watch it in 5 hours. But I completely see why it has like 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. I mean, I'm not gonna say that it was like the most riveting television I've ever watched. It's not Breaking Bad or anything. But it just seems, the way Rotten Tomatoes does their thing, it's like, did you like it or not?
Right.
There's no score. It's just, did you like this or not? And sometimes I think that's a terrible indicator of the quality of something. But one of the things that it can tell you is this thing going to give you a reason to hate it? And I think that overwhelmingly, it would be very hard to watch this show and not like it. And I've had a vast array of people, like the homie Lauren is a big Star Wars fan, but in terms of like the animated shows and like anything that's not in the movies, I'd say that she leans more casual in those things. She's a huge fan of like the Andor kind of more of the political intrigue or even some of the romance sides of Star Wars. She loves this. She's only seen 2 episodes. But I know people all across the Star Wars fandom, different aspects of it, and they all really loved this. So I think it'd be hard to dislike it.
Yeah.
It's just good TV. And the animation style is so much better than the Clone Wars animation. The way that they animate Maul's lightsaber, I like it almost better than the live action. They kind of give it this almost like drip effect where when the blade moves across the screen, it kind of trails a little bit. And it's really nice. It's got a really good visual effect to it, and also you're able to look at the characters and you can just get a lot more of the action.
I have heard nothing but great things about this Mall show.
Yeah,
that's not the only show that I've heard nothing but good things about.
Oh yeah, there's another one.
Spider Noir.
Yeah.
Has been getting a lot of really positive reception online,
and I'm like super skeptical about it, but we're gonna have to review it.
We're gonna have to review it.
So we're gonna have to review both of those things.
Yep.
So
our plate is still as full as it ever was. We were busy went on vacation, got sick, back, and busy again.
And I'll tell you guys too, Euphoria ends tonight. That's not, that's a show we both like. We're not really in the realms of like something we would review on here. How the fuck would you even go about reviewing that
I don't
show?
know. I was going to ask, like, how do you even review Euphoria?
Be like, yeah, and then like the most ridiculous shit you could imagine happened. And then they roll the credits, and then it happened again.
Yeah, it was some drugs and nudity, and like, yeah.
Yeah. And then like one of the characters had a fever dream, and yeah, I don't know how you review that show. I will say I'm current on. Are you caught up?
No.
Okay.
No.
So it ends tonight. Early on, I had said that it's a different show, and I don't know if I like the new show. Mm-hmm. 9 episodes in, it is a new show, and I do like the new show. Okay. It's not the same show. A lot of people are really pissed off that like certain plot points and threads and things that were set up in the first 2 seasons have been kind of thrown away. I don't want to put the spoiler out. Mm-hmm. If you haven't been spoiled on it, I don't want you to be spoiled on it. But there's some huge spoilers on the internet for some major things that happen. And my thing, to counter that is that in real life, and that show has always tried to stay pretty grounded in realism, right? And in real life, it doesn't pan out that way. Yeah. Your, drama or your romance or something that you have with a person, that shit's not always going to play out. You might not ever see them again. One of you might die. Like, that's just how real life is, All the plot threads don't get wrapped up. And yeah, obviously in a show, if you start a plot thread, you want to see them through. You want to see it through. But also, I'm not going to hate what they did just because of that.
Yeah.
I think that it's a powerful vehicle that they've used for season 3. Do I think there's going to be a season 4? I don't know. I would have a better answer tonight. Because obviously, I think that the showrunners have a pretty good idea right now if they're going to get a season 4.
Yeah. Just based off of the little that I've seen or even heard about this season, I'd be surprised if Euphoria got a season 4. One thing, it just seems like it's so hard to rope everything and everybody back together for a 4th season. And also just seems like where the characters are and where these actors are, it's just going to be a bigger and bigger ask every time. And I don't know what their deals are, what kind of deals their agents have set up, but I imagine that the budget just to retain these actors is getting astronomically higher every season because none of these actors are getting any cheaper or any less famous.
And I said to a friend of mine just the other day, that, hey, I think that these couple of characters are going to die no matter what. I at the beginning of the season, I actually, I said, I think that both Nate and Cassie will probably die. And I was like, just purely, like nothing was in the story was really indicating that to me yet. But I just said, just purely because I don't think they can afford to keep having Jacob Elordi and Sydney Sweeney. I mean, they are, for their age, arguably the most like sought after, actors in Hollywood right now. I mean, if you look at it, like they are kind of like the working actors right now, where it's like, Sydney Sweeney's in everything, and Jacob Elordi's in fucking everything. I feel like every day I go on Netflix and I see him in something else,
Yeah. You can't even overlook the main character in the whole thing.
Yeah, Zendaya. My only argument for her was that she was really famous when this show started.
Yeah,
she's even more so now.
She's even more so now, though.
Whereas, like the two of them were relative unknowns, and then they skyrocketed off the back of this show.
Yeah,
and I just don't think. I mean, it took so long to get season 3 off the ground. And I'll be honest with you, the way season 3 plays out, the main characters are the two of them, and then of course Zendaya, of course, and then you have Lexi and Maddie, and they're kind of not in it a whole lot, and then Jules is really barely in this season. So I think they were having either. I can't imagine that they intentionally, wrote a smaller part for Jules. So the only thing I can think of, and mild spoilers here, I'm being as vague as fucking possible. Like, the only thing I can think of is that they were having a hard time getting Hunter Schafer for continuous amounts of time. So if they're struggling to get her, then I can only imagine how difficult it's got to be to get all of these people in the same place at the same time.
Yeah.
So I think that, like, when I've watched, like, interviews with the cast and stuff, I really do feel like tonight is the series finale. I don't think we get a season 4.
I think that's very possible, and I don't know what the numbers are in terms of viewership, but I also don't feel like it is as hot as it was for the previous seasons either.
No, it can't be, because it's such a different show. I mean, I hate to bring everything back to the Cosmere all the time, but I'm gonna. The Cosmere or South Park. I can if you got a thing, I can reference it in one of those two things. But looking at it, man, you know, when he went to from Mistborn, which is a high fantasy series, to Mistborn Era 2, which is a Western, you know, they lost like 40% of the audience. Not because of the quality of the thing, it's just because, you know, the genre fans of this one thing, not all of them naturally carried over to this other thing. And that's, you know, kind of the risk. And that's why you don't see a lot of things where, you know, that's why you don't see Assassin's Creed Soccer, you know, coming out. You know what I'm saying? It's just
not yet.
When you come, yeah, Ubisoft isn't that desperate yet. We'll see how the Black Flag Resync does. They really need that game to do well. But yeah, I mean, just when you do this big genre flip, it'd be like expecting everybody that plays, you know, Mario Odyssey to go and play, you know, Mario Tennis.
Yeah,
that's just not going to happen.
So still get game of the year
from IGN, yeah, for sure. Yeah, fuck you guys. But yeah, I think that there's going to be an audience drop-off. Like I said, at the beginning, I definitely didn't know if I was going to like this new thing that Euphoria is. And I feel like if they were to do a season 4, I think they'd have to do it again. Like, I don't think, from where they are now, I don't think you could keep all these same characters and just do like Born Again just did and do like a extended season where it's like, oh, okay, we cliffhanger and then... yeah, we're going to continue this plot line. I feel like that's not possible. I feel like if they were to do a season 4, they're going to have to do another time skip and another self-contained kind of season. And I'm not saying I'm opposed to that. I'm just saying that that's even riskier from a network perspective.
Yeah, and when you just think about it in a grand scheme of things, how much is there really tying together high school students?
Yeah,
and I know for our younger listeners who might be in that age range, you may think that that's everything. That's your world. Trust me, it gets a whole lot bigger once you graduate and get into the real world. And once you guys start going your separate ways, I mean, it's more natural to just believe or to just let things kind of fizzle than to try to force it to continue.
Yeah, I mean, I graduated with about 1,100 people, and. Well, actually, that was like the total number in the whole school. I graduated with about 300 people.
Yeah, there you go. We went to the same school. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, you're like, but that was like about how many people were in the whole high school.
Yeah.
I graduated with about 300 people. And I talked to, that I graduated with, maybe 3 of them, you know, all these years later. And like people I went to high school with in general, it's maybe 10 tops. One of them's sitting here next to me. You know, like if you think that's your world, it's not going to be. And that I love that the show reflects that. But I don't know that necessarily works great for television. Yeah, you know, for you to go, well, 70% of these side characters, there's no reason for them to be here, so get fucked. Yeah, you know,
it's tough because it takes a really clever show with really good writers to kind of pen something like this, but. The thing of it is about like relationships, and sometimes relationships of any sorts, is that you don't always get closure, and that is your closure sometimes. Yeah. But that is extremely nuanced and difficult to write in a way that people can kind of accept. Yes. And I'm not saying that it can't be done. It's just a difficult route to travel, and that may be something that this show has to explore with some of its characters and those. Missing relationships, but I mean that's just the thing that it is for something like this. I wanted to talk a little bit about some video games before we
Yes.
And we've had a couple of new video game releases that have happened in the past couple of weeks. And man, let me tell you, I was really looking forward to the cruise I was on. I had a lot of fun, but while I was on that cruise, there were two video games that dropped, two that I picked up immediately when I got home. One of them is Lego Batman: Legacy of the Dark Knight, and the other is 007 First Light.
I've heard very good things about both of them.
I have very good things to say about both of them.
Okay.
I've been thoroughly impressed, and with the Lego Batman game, the newest one, Legacy of the Dark Knight, they do this really interesting thing where they take all of the stories from the movies, all the live action movies, and they kind of amalgamate them together to make this one conglomerate story. And they do it with the Lego charm that makes it extremely funny. So it starts off, kind of like with a classic, more generic Thomas and Martha scene. But first you're playing as young Bruce, and you're running around Wayne Manor, and they're gonna go see the Great Ghost. That's where they're gonna go see this time. And you're trying to find all the pieces to Bruce's little Grey Ghost outfit before you go off to the theater. And then you go to the theater, and then of course you get the infamous Joe Chill scene, and then it kind of goes into a Batman Begins type scenario where like, okay, well, this is a little bit of Batman Begins, but then it's also a little bit of Batman '89 because there is no Joe Chill yet because that character hadn't been created. It was instead Jack Nicholson's Jack Napier from Batman '89, who's the one who shoots Thomas and Martha. Okay. And so that kind of is going to be a recurring theme that comes back. But then you go off to train with Ra's al Ghul, and so you do that whole segment, and then you come back, and then it kind of takes itself a little bit after the Batman Begins into the Batman, since that's more like a Batman Year 2 type story.
Right.
And so it's really clever how they play it out, and and in terms of the gameplay and all that, it is very refined for a Lego game, but it is still a Lego game.
You know? So it's very basic. Yeah,
very basic. They have a template from the Arkham series, but it's just a loose template.
Yeah.
So you have your counter, your block, your attack and all that. But for a Lego game, it is definitely the most in-depth combat that they've ever had. But it's been a really fun game so far. I've had a blast with it. So we'll see how it continues to play out. It has that unique Lego humor and charm that I really like so much. So I've had a blast with it.
What is your? I definitely need to check both of those games out. But what is your opinion on the heavily rumored Batman game? And this is 10 years ago we actually got confirmation that WB was working on something like this and canned it. But it is being heavily rumored again that there is a Batman game in the works and that it's going to use a Nemesis system.
I've heard rumors about this. I feel if this were true, if they were still going to do something like this, this would be tremendous.
My question is who are they going to get to make it, right? Because if it's Rocksteady, no, that place has been stripped down.
Oh yeah, they're not the same. They're not the same Rocksteady they were who made the Arkham trilogy, or even quadrilogy if you count Arkham Origins.
They'd have to farm that out to somebody else, I think.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, though, another big announcement happened while we were out in the video game world. The Witcher 3 is getting a DLC expansion 11 years after Blood and Wine.
Crazy.
And it's being worked on by a new game studio named... CD Projekt Red is working on it, but they're co-developing it with Fool Theory, and they are basically a spin-off studio that basically is comprised of a bunch of people that worked on The Witcher 3 originally. So
this was crazy news for me.
It was heavily rumored also, and so, but I was like, man, I don't know if they're going to do that shit. But then, because that's a risky business, but to just release a DLC for a game that came out 11, 12 years ago at this point,
right?
But it's brilliant.
It is brilliant if it works, and
And it's not just a 20-hour advertisement for The Witcher 4?
That part. And also you have to wonder, how far along in development are they really in Witcher 4? I know they have a tentative release date for it, but really and truly, is Witcher 4 really that well off right now that they can dedicate a section of their team to work on this DLC for this game that came out back in 2015? You know,
I think their plan, if I had to guess, I think that they want to release. They've said that they want to release all Witcher 4, 5, and 6 in 6 years. So that gives them 2 years in between games.
But no, there's also the Witcher 1 remake they had planned.
Yeah. So I think that their plan, I think that they want to, they don't want to have this situation where they cross console gens necessarily. So I think that by the end of 2028, I think we'll have new consoles. So I think that they're planning on releasing Witcher 4 Holiday 28 and then 30 and 32 to finish the trilogy. So I think that we will see that Witcher 1 remake, and we will see the, of course, the Witcher DLC was supposed to come out this year, but it's now confirmed for next year.
Yep.
So we're going to get that Witcher 3 DLC. We're going to get the Witcher 1 remastered or remake or whatever. In the meantime, to hold us over until Holiday 28. So I think it's going to be a good couple years for Witcher fans.
Yeah, it definitely should be. If we get Prime CD Projekt Red, it'll be a great time.
Yeah.
So we don't really have much details about this DLC, do we?
No, not at all. We know that it is going to sort of tee up Witcher 4, though.
Do we know if we'll be playing primarily as Geralt or Ciri?
We don't know that. I assume we're going to be playing as Geralt in the DLC and maybe a little bit of Ciri, because I think Witcher 4 we're going to be playing primarily as Ciri.
Yeah.
So, one other video game related thing before we get into the main event tonight, but man, I gotta say, I can't believe I'm actually saying this. I'm having a blast with Starfield right now.
You've been telling me this, and I hold your word in such high regard that I even made room in the Xbox and I re-downloaded it. I haven't played it yet again, but I have reinstalled it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to say that it is a perfect game by any means. There's still certain things that frustrate me, like so the UI is very frustrating. It's like, okay, it seems like the game kind of makes up its own rules about like, okay, well, I want to go to this specific part of the city.
Yeah. Sometimes
I can be on the other side of the universe and go, I want to go there, and it'll take me directly there.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I have to, light speed to the system, and then I then have to pick where I want to land and all of that shit. And like I can see it because like some of the systems are like the settle systems. They have to scan your ship for contraband before you can land, and so that makes sense to me.
I get that.
But sometimes, man, it's just like, yeah, okay, I can just fast travel directly to this place, and then sometimes I have to like, light speed to the system. And then I have to go into my menu again and then select the place I want to land. And, like, that's just wonky to me.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I hated this game, right? I played it. I tried it at launch. I didn't like it at all. And then I think I waited about 6 months or so for patches until like, they had come out with a couple patches. And then I tried it again. And this time I put about 16 hours into it. And I was like, no, I just still hate this game. Like I had a friend that told me I should just like kind of prioritize, like just kind of beeline the main story, because shocking spoiler for a 2-year-old game, you can get powers that you can use. I'll be honest with you, I don't have that advice. I think the main story, like it is in most Bethesda games, is kind of lame. If you ask somebody their favorite Skyrim moment, they're not going to tell you the main story.
Yeah, no.
And so this time I wanted my playthrough to be very different from that, and I didn't want to do any of that shit at all. And honestly, I don't think the powers that you get are that useful or that cool. I'm kind of just doing the spaceman fantasy at this point in time. And I'm really, really enjoying it. Like I said, I have complaints this time, but they're all pretty minor, And I just hit level 22 today, and I'll be honest with you, as soon as I get back home, I'm logging in.
Oh man.
You know, I thought I just won't mess with the outpost system because I didn't see a point in it last time. I got 3 outposts going right now. I'm really liking the gameplay, and I just didn't think they'd ever get it to a point where I was enjoying it.
What have they changed to make you enjoy it more now?
Well, I think one of the reasons I'm enjoying it more is I'm doing like the faction quests, and they're really good. I'm doing one right now where like I'm working for the United Systems for their security department, which is kind of like their like the FBI or whatever. And I'm actually an undercover agent with the Crimson Fleet. And so I'm like embedded in the Crimson Fleet, and I'm like feeding information back to them, which is a cool concept anyway.
Yeah.
And actually, at the end, you actually get a chance to you can play it to where you actually help them, or you can play it to where you fuck them over.
Okay.
And you're kind of like flipping the script and kind of spying on them for the Crimson Fleet if you want to do like an evil whatever. Yeah. And I'm almost done with that storyline right now, and I'm actually playing the good route. Mm-hmm. But one of the highlights, and like this was a cool thing that happened, is as kind of like an initiation, they wanted me to get this traitor who, you know, had left the fleet or whatever. And they were like, he's on this medical ship. And the game gave me a bunch of different ways to approach it. That because, like, if I wanted to go the evil route, I could have just blown their ship out of the sky. Mm-hmm. Easy peasy. But I ended up using my persuade skill to let them convince me to come on board. And I ended up basically working it out where, like, I didn't actually have to kill the guy. I had them take him off the manifest when they docked, and then I ended up turning him over to the SecDef people. And then they gave me some of the supplies on their ship, so when I went back to the Crimson Fleet, I was like, yeah, took him out, I got some of the supplies, whatever, here you go. And so, like, that was just a cool thing to happen. Mm-hmm. And there was another point where I turned in a guy who was planning to try to take over from like their leader, and so I narked on him immediately, you know, for my own street cred, and I was like, yeah, this dude's planning to kill you. I told him to fuck off, and so he's like, he's got to be dealt with. So I was like, I don't want to get blood all over your ship. I'll take him down to the surface. Oh. So I take him down to the surface, and I just like fuck him up, and like got on the comms, was like, yeah, you can pick this dude up from here, mm-hmm. And then he went back up. It's like, oh, it's taken care of. And yeah, it's pretty cool. And like they have a brig on their ship that has all the people I've like turned in evidence on where they've like arrested them and stuff. And it's just doing cool things like that. I really love that game when it just allows me to do the spaceman fantasy. Mm-hmm. You know, that's what I think that kind of game really is. I like how the guns feel. I like how the combat feels. I'm really enjoying the crafting systems. I've got a ship that has all the crafting tables on it and everything, and I'm just really liking it. It's a lot closer now to what I wanted out of that game than it originally was. It has a lot of things that I really like, and then the problem with the spaceman fantasy game, and this has been the problem of every single one of these games that's ever come out right, is limits feel bad to gamers. And so, like, we're in an era now, you know, Mass Effect 1 was like the game where it's like, oh, you can explore all these planets, but what you really could do was run around an empty square of a planet. Mm-hmm. And if you know, we were talking about Black Flag Resynced earlier. In the original Black Flag, it felt bad whenever you would go to one of these beautiful like Caribbean islands, and you only have this small section of it you can go to. You can see the rest of it, but you can't go there. Yeah. And I think in the new one we're not going to have that. I think it's going to be fully explorable. And you just can't, at least like not right now, you can't in any meaningful way have space in a way that hides those limits well. And I think that this game is doing all it can, you know, to do that. But there are points, like there's a point where you come to this giant capital ship, you know, and you're like, oh, fucking, can I dock with this thing? Can I go on it? Yeah, you can, but you can't go all through it, obviously, because they can't, you know, they can't put a whole planet worth of shit
right.
on this ship.
Yeah.
So
Well, I think that like that is part of the gamer's dilemma because I completely understand and even agree with like all the points you just made there. But I think the issue that I run into sometimes, especially now that I think that we've hit the pinnacle on what an open world game can be,
yeah,
it feels like we can run into the problem of they're as wide as an ocean but as deep as a puddle.
yep,
And that is its own problem unto itself. Like, I remember around the time that I started to become a little bit disillusioned with Assassin's Creed games was
Yes.
like I have these huge, beautiful maps to explore, and they're just full of busy work that feels empty. And as soon as that empty feeling hits me, even though there's technically hours of content for me to do and explore, it just doesn't feel fulfilling anymore.
yeah. It'll kill it for me instantly. Odyssey is my favorite Assassin's Creed game,
Right.
but even then, there's so much of that in that game. I feel like with Odyssey, at least the parts of it that have that have that like actual touch to them are really really good, and then the rest of it's just busy work. And that's why Valhalla fell through is because Valhalla just felt like only that for the most part.
They doubled down on the busy work, and like nothing felt fulfilling.
Yeah. And I think with this game, I've really enjoyed, going. There's a city called Neon that feels so Mass Effect. It's like it's so Mass Effect.
Yeah.
But as I'm just walking down the street, I can overhear a conversation with somebody being like, "Oh, did you hear the pirates hit this space station on whatever moon?" And it'll pop up the option for me to pick that up and go after it. And even if I just go there and like, okay, there's this ship under attack from some pirates and I kill them or whatever, like that to me is a cool thing that could happen, and that doesn't feel like busy work, especially because I can ignore the shit out of it.
Yep.
I can not press that button. I can just keep walking. And I love that aspect of, you're giving me all these things that I could possibly do. A lot of times I'm busy, man. I'm in the middle of some shit,
Yeah. Well, I think like for me the perfect kind of balance for me would be like either like Rockstar with what they did with Red Dead and or like some of the Arkham games where like you have this map you can explore and there's plenty to do, but almost everything that you can do that's not the main quest feels main quest adjacent. Like it feels like it has some depth to it. Like it feels like you're here for a reason.
Witcher 3 did a great job.
Witcher 3 as well. Oh, absolutely.
All those side quests.
Yeah. Yeah, they all felt like they were important.
That shit goes both ways and somehow works in both ways in that game.
Yeah.
Because you'll do a side quest and you'll be like, this shit feels so important. And then you'll be on the main quest and you're like, what the fuck does this have to do with anything?
Yeah.
But then it'll come around, Like when you have to fucking dig up that baby's corpse or whatever for that one dude, that creepy ass thing.
Yeah.
You're like, what does this have to do with anything?
Right. Yeah, agreed. But it's so thought out and so captivating that it just ropes you in. And at the end of the day, like when you're playing a game like this specifically, you're not just dealing with like your typical kind of casual video game player. Like you're dealing with the type of player who's looking for immersion.
Yeah.
And so if you can nail that immersion down, then you're great. One of my favorite moments in Red Dead 2, and there's plenty that I have, but one of them was when I'm just exploring, seeing what's out in this wilderness, and I come across this. It looks almost like an abandoned kind of torn down halfway meeting hall of some sort. It's hard to tell exactly how to describe it, but I go in here, and there's a bunch of beds lined up against the walls. And then I see in these beds, oh shit, these are skeletons in here. Like there's a bunch of dead bodies that have long been decomposed laying in these beds. And so I'm walking around and I look at the bodies and I see that on the nightstands next to all these beds, it's a container of poison. And then as soon as I put the pieces together, I'm like, oh, this is like a fucking suicide cult here. And they all took the poison. And as soon as I put the pieces together, the fucking room started to shake. A green light came in through the cracks of the ceiling, and I hear this fucking weird noise. I said, it's a motherfucking spaceship. And like, as soon as I go to check on the spaceship, like it stops and it's gone. And I was like, motherfucker, like this is just, it's shit like that Rockstar does, that just really, really fucks with you in a really cool way. Like they reward your exploration with silliness like that sometimes.
Yeah. Like rewarding exploration is such a lost thing in a game.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just that, like, okay, if I go here, there'll be a thing here. It's, do I feel like I benefited from coming here?
Yeah.
And not just, did I check off a box?
Not just did I check off a box. It's not just, okay, well, I went to these 4 different places. Now I got the new armor. You know, because, like, that's nice. But then, like, it also, like, if that's all that I get from that, then it's like, okay, well, I've done this now. I don't have to do this again.
Yeah.
You know, it's the difference between playing the Arkham games and, like, doing the missions that lead you to find Man-Bat, and doing the missions that, okay, well, I'm doing this just so I can collect the Riddler trophies.
Right.
But even with the Riddler trophies, guess what? You get a solid payoff for doing that.
Yes.
I mean, so sometimes less is more if you can do more with less.
Yeah, I think Starfield right now has one of the best weapon upgrade systems.
That's awesome.
There's like 6 or 7 mods you can put on basically every gun, and then they also, in the Free Lanes update, they actually added where you can get legendary modifiers.
Oh, that's dope.
And you can, the way that works is you roll like a set of them. So like when you do the legendary thing, you get to pick from a set of modifiers, and you can re-roll them too, or you can add them. They cost a lot. They also fixed a bunch of the fucking companions.
Do they feel like people now instead of just weird NPCs?
They feel a lot more like people. I won't say that every one of them is like fleshed out, but I've got 4 on my ship right now because there's like a skill system for your ship's crew. So like, if they have certain skills, you can put them on your crew, and it gives you certain benefits. The game does not do a great job of explaining that shit though. So I had to look that up, but yeah, they've come a long way. They at least fixed what was the worst thing to me, which was where we're in the middle of a firefight, and one of the NPCs just be like, "So how you feeling about our relationship?" And I'd be like,
"Fucking lasers and shooting everything."
Yeah, and I'm like, "Bitch, can we talk about this in a minute? Like, this ain't no fucking cutscene."
Shit. That's great.
So. Man, well, I guess at 37 minutes, we'll probably get into the actual episode. This is what happens.
It's been a while.
Yeah, this is what happens when we don't record for a while.
Right. You know, we go off on tangents, and we have to catch up and talk about things that we want to talk about. And now we have to talk about some things that we maybe sort of kind of want to talk about. All right. Well, with that being said, homies one and all, welcome back to another very special episode of the Superhero Homies Podcast. My name is Quentin, and as always, I am here once again with the world's greatest co-host, my friend, my brother, the homie Caleb.
That's me right here. I have done and seen all of the things since I talked to you guys last. I met the cast of Critical Role at MomoCon, got a picture with them, went to their panel. It was dope as hell. I've seen about 2.5 minutes of season 4 of Vox Machina. Definitely check that out if you haven't seen it. It looks like it's going to be really, really good. I got to tell a quick story. This is almost as good as the Vincent D'Onofrio story.
Oh.
They did a Q&A where a line forms or whatever. This kid went up there and stood in line for I don't know how long to ask the following question. He asked them if their shows were ever going to appear anywhere other than Amazon Prime Video because his parents didn't have it.
What the fuck?
Yeah. I was like, you couldn't have Googled that?
Bro, like, ooh.
And Travis Willingham was just like, no, they give us a lot of money.
Yeah. I would be wondering, why are you here then?
Yeah.
That's an extremely frustrating question.
Yeah. Can you imagine, like, being the person, like, where they cut the line off at?
Yeah. And
just knowing that if that person hadn't asked that fucking question, you would have got to ask yours.
And you actually had maybe like a well-meaning, deeper question to ask. God, it's that shit that just, I don't know, man. It frustrates me.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I love going to panels and getting to hear like what a lot of these people think who we see or hear on TV or movies, whatever. But then you get the people who ask just the most ridiculous questions, And I'm like, we only have an hour with them, right? So why are you wasting this precious time asking these dumbass questions?
Yeah. Well, speaking of things that frustrate the shit out of you, we're going to be covering the remainder of season 5, the final season of The Boys tonight. We are specifically talking about episodes 5 through 8. But obviously we're going to talk about kind of the series as a whole because this is the series finale. What's your kind of overall thoughts, man? We left this in a bad place at the end of episode 4.
I think that The Boys put itself in an impossible position to properly recover from. They came into season 5 really with not a whole lot of structure, and there was a lot of ground they still had to cover. And we knew that the episode was going to be limited, 8 episodes. And with that being said, we knew that they really had to bring it in order for this to feel like a satisfying season finale. And what's interesting is that by the time we got halfway through this season, we both kind of realized that if they keep going like this, if this is all the show has, then this season is kind of doomed. There's no way that they can satisfyingly wrap this up in a good conclusion. The best we can hope for is that they can just find a way to land the plane so that nobody on it dies. That's not a pun to Flight 37. That's just And so what happened was that by the time we did the first half of this season 5 review, I was basically just watching this show to see how it ends. I'm just morbidly curious now to see how they can wrap this thing up. And for me, what we got was a season that probably could have been condensed down to maybe 5 episodes. On one hand, I think it could have been condensed down to 5 episodes. And on the other hand, I think if they really wanted to explore some of these themes deeper, probably could have been 10 episodes. So the show leaves me in a weird conundrum where I feel like it is both too short and too long. And I think it's because, by and large, the people who made this, Eric Kripke in the game, they just didn't know exactly what they wanted to do. They received an episode count that they need to fill, and then they filled it. I think that the season finale, I think that the themes of the finale were solid. I think that they finally realized maybe we should take another glance at the comic books and see how they did it. And then they tried to emulate some themes from that so that they can wrap this up in a somewhat satisfying conclusion. And I'll go ahead and say this, and then I really want to hand this over to you because I want to hear what you think. But I think that now, in hindsight, that this thing is all said and done, this should have been 4 seasons total. And I think that you kill Homelander at the end of season 3. And then I think that you spend season 4, maybe season 4 is only a 6-episode season, but you do like the comics did, and you give Butcher as the villain his own arc, and you let that ride for the 4th season, instead of trying to cram it all into the back half of a single episode. But with that being said, they had some good themes in the finale. It certainly wasn't all bad. There was no way they were going to stick the landing with something like this with the way the rest of the season's been going. But with that being said, man, I thought that it was it's like trying to eat a Taco Bell burrito the day after you've been drunk, and now you're just slightly drunk and hungover. Like, it'll still do the job, but you really don't want to eat this anymore.
Like you may think you want to eat it,
yes,
but there's no way that you're going to be satisfied by eating it.
Exactly.
It's like we have it now, so we might as well.
Might as well. Yeah, it's here in front of me.
Yeah, I think my thoughts on the length of the show is if they were going to do it this way, it should have ended in 3 seasons. And I don't want to go straight to how it all ends, but that's kind of my conundrum. Like, when I look at this, at the end of season 3, this was the setup. We had we're in Vault Tower. We've got Maeve in there. We've got Ryan. We've got Butcher. We've got Soldier Boy. We got Homelander. And Soldier Boy goes to hit Homelander with the chest beam, and Butcher saves them because he doesn't want Ryan to get hit by the beam. Okay.
Yep.
Flash forward to the end of season 5. They traded out Soldier Boy, who just ambiguous. We don't actually get any kind of resolution for Soldier Boy, which I assume that means they want to do a modern, other than just we obviously know that Eric Kripke wants to work with Jensen Ackles, so it's like very evident that they want to do modern day Soldier Boy stuff. So whether that means, they're going to have flash forwards in Vault Rising, or if they want to do Vault Rising to then eventually do a modern day spinoff, I don't know how that's going to work. I think a lot of that's going to depend on the numbers for Vault Rising.
Yeah.
But we got the exact same scenario in the actual finale, but just you traded out Soldier Boy for
Kimiko.
Kimiko, thank you. Jeez. Mine just blanked out for Kimiko, and Ryan still got hit by the beam.
Yep.
Butcher is getting hit by the beam in this case, other than instead of Maeve. So you got Butcher, Homelander, and Ryan all get hit by the beam, and I'm like, you could have just done this 2 seasons ago. There was nothing that happened in between the season 3 finale and the series finale that validated you keeping this going. I mean, obviously, I don't want to lose, and this is 2 moments I definitely want to talk about that are highlights of season 5. Frenchie and A-Train's deaths were incredible.
Yep.
A-Train's, I think, was the best death in the whole series, but Frenchie's was right behind it.
A-Train had the best arc in the whole series.
Agreed, yes, 100%. And when he was gone, we felt that.
Yep.
It felt like every episode of Community after Donald Glover leaves.
Ooh. I never even saw those episodes when I think about it.
You didn't miss anything. I mean, you could tell the cast even knew. The cast didn't. They were fulfilling their contracts. That him being gone just took so much of the wind out of that show's sails. It wasn't awful TV, and it would give you a little spark of that, but it was nowhere near as good as it used to be.
Right.
But in this instance, man, I just don't know that there was anything worth it. They could have had the A-Train death happen a lot sooner. They could have had the Frenchie death happen, in the penultimate, the same way they did here. Frenchie's death was amazing. I love the line that he drops. He says, "I bet you never danced a day in your life."
Yeah.
And him and A-Train have that in common, that they hit Homelander in a way that he cannot deal with.
Yep.
That he can't do anything but kill them, and it enrages him that they're right about him. And that there's, even after he kills them, those words will echo forever in his head.
The few moments in this show or in this season, I should say, that really do it justice is when they have Homelander being scary, and they have people stand up to him and dress him down, even though they know they're looking in the face of death.
Yeah.
For me, that is when this season is at its best. I actually read a quote, and I don't remember it exactly, but it was with Anthony Starr, and he was talking, actually kind of venting about some of his frustrations about working on this last season. And he actually said some things that mirrored my thoughts and my sentiments that I've said a couple times. And Anthony, he said something along the lines of, I had to remind Eric that Homelander is also his own character, not just a satirical stand-in for Trump.
Right.
And I mean, and that is so true, though, because in these moments, like when you look at A-Train's death, when you look at Frenchie's death, these scenes don't work if all we're getting is just a satire of our real life politicians. Like, we have to remember that this character really meant something in the earlier seasons, and now all it is just just a satirical stand-in.
Right.
But in those moments, because Anthony Starr is so good, he's just able to dial it in and still give us that Homelander performance. And it made those characters' deaths feel more because they were dealing with such a insurmountable threat, but yet they're still dressing him down.
Has any character ever provided us with as many memes as Homelander?
The only character I can think of, probably, well, first of all, no, to answer your question. But if anyone would close, it would maybe be
Walter White.
Walter White gave us some.
Picard. Picard has a lot of memes.
Picard, yep. This one is cheating, but Spider-Man.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, nobody knows who he is. So.
Yeah, exactly. But no, the number of Homelander memes is insane.
And that's all due to Anthony Starr's amazing facial work, especially.
Apparently, he didn't even want the role of Homelander.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah. I guess his agent told him just to, go and audition, see what you think. When you're so good, man, I mean, thank goodness they got that cast. I think that for the most part, the casting for this show, whoever the casting director is, needs raised because...
Yeah. I really wish he had been Johnny Cage in the new Mortal Kombat instead of Carl Urban.
Oh, wow. I didn't even think about that.
I think he would have absolutely slayed that role.
Yeah.
And I saw that too while we were on hiatus. And I thought Carl Urban in that... Carl Urban is like... Him and Nicolas Cage had the same agent, But Carl Urban is like a way better actor. So with Carl Urban, it's like yeah, he'll do just about anything, but he's always gonna give you like there's a floor on how bad that's gonna be. Like he always is gonna deliver.
Yeah,
he just has like sometimes the casting is right and he kills it. So Eomir, Lord of the Rings, his role is Judge Dredd.
Yep.
Like obviously and like. Butcher. It's hard to imagine Butcher as any other actor.
Right.
But, every now and then you're going to get a Luke Cage or,
or a Johnny Cage.
Johnny Cage. I'm sorry. He would have been severely miscast.
Jesus Christ.
I kind of want to see it now.
Oi, mate. I'm the king of Harlem now.
Well, the funny thing is, he does not have the accent at all as Johnny Cage.
He sounds like Hugh Jackman.
He does. 100%. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
That actually, though, what you said about the Homelander character, it applies across the board, though. Like, I think around episode 6 or 7, there's a really good conversation. It's when they break in, when they're having all the psychics or whatever read their responses, and like All Father's trying to convince Homelander like they don't need to kill them, that he can convert them. And we got that like terrible scene that just reminds you of like how fucking awful this show can be when Dog Knot and
the fucking
9 Lives or whatever her superhero name
Teenage
is.
Kicks,
are going in circles sniffing each other's asses.
Yeah.
You're just like, okay. This is like the show reminding you of how awful like it can be, and I do mean that in the worst way. But in that same like episode, there was a really good conversation between Starlight and MM that really brought out like sort of the optimism of MM's character that really for the first 3 seasons, and I mean he was still pretty good in season 4, but it was basically dropped at the beginning of season 5. It's like MM has all this anger and this determination that all the rest of them have. But he also has the ability to make sure that cooler heads prevail when it's smart. He was like, kind of the moral center of the group, from a standpoint of, we may not want to fucking work together. We may not want to do this, but we got to we got to lock it in and get the shit done. And he always had this kind of optimism to him, even in the face of all the bullshit that they were going through, these superpowered people that, his family was super fucked over by Soldier Boy and Vought and all that. And they finally brought that back towards the end. I feel like a lot of the Annie and Huey stuff was just lost, especially in this season. Yep. They made up for it at the end. I mean, maybe not made up for it, but they circled back to it. But this season had some great moments. I love the references to the first episode where A-Train possibly could have gotten away from Homelander if he had ran through that random citizen in episode 1, but he purposefully avoided hitting her to show his growth from the first episode to now, and it ultimately cost him. And so for them to also kind of play that same scenario up with him and Starlight in the finale, I did really like that too.
I don't want to say that there were no good moments in this season. There absolutely were. It's just that the good moments, they're just few and far between in comparison to all of the shitty, I can't believe I have to endure this moments.
There was so much filler and nonsense. I'll be honest, like Oh Father or whatever, we could have done probably without his character. That whole arc wasn't that great.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I don't think he had an arc. He was just a character needed to, for the plot to continue on through.
I mean, the way MM killed him was great.
Oh yeah, but I'll be honest though, like the actor did such a good job. I didn't mind his character.
Yeah.
It's not that I think he had anything important to do, because he didn't.
Yeah.
But I think that it was just a really fun character. Like, if I have to just turn my brain off and watch some drivel, then I'm glad that it's at least a very entertaining character here.
I would have loved if they had done a moment like right before they beat him where like Ashley took a minute to explain his powers.
Yeah.
Because he was obviously a riff on Black Bolt,
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, he was like Black Bolt and Banshee from the X-Men.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
But the way they killed him was way better than the way Black Bolt got killed.
Oh yeah. Could you imagine? Anywho, I really liked the moment. This was in the first half. Yeah, I think the first half of. Fuck. What episode was it that Firecracker died?
That was 5 or 6.
Okay, so it was the back half of the season. But I thought that her death, that whole episode, I thought was really solid. Yeah, that was episode 5. I thought that episode 5 of season 5 of The Boys was a pretty solid episode. And that's when we got some really interesting character moments. Now, granted, this episode didn't do anything to further the plot, but it did do some things for the characters at least. And that's more than what we had been getting. So I was definitely more than willing to accept this.
Yeah. There was a lot here that, as we said, didn't need to be here. Mm-hmm. Lots and lots of filler. And it just felt like this inevitable waiting. Now, I will say that I think the finale itself was as good as it could have been, given the hole they dug themselves into. Mm-hmm. The thing is, they just didn't need to dig themselves into that hole.
Yep.
And I wish they had it. But I will say that, to the credit I'll give it, like, if you just consider everything up to the beginning of the finale, from that moment forward, I feel like they did as well as they possibly could have, with the finale itself. There were some interesting changes. Them having Huey turn down the CIA job and open an electronics store was a weird change. I think changing from the source material is fine.
Yeah.
But it needs to serve a purpose, and that didn't.
Right. Yeah.
But I loved how MM ended. I think him adopting Ryan and everything was great. Mm-hmm. I loved Kamiko's ending. I thought it was tremendous.
She kind of got almost the Bruce Wayne Dark Knight Rises ending.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. There was just nobody to nod and smile at her because Frenchie's dead. But I loved all of that. How did you feel about the actual final fight and that scene?
You mean like the Homelander fight?
Yes.
I thought that for this show's never had great fight scenes.
Right.
But I thought that for this show it was fine. There was nothing technically really wrong with it. They tried to get a little bit creative with some of the fight moments in this scene. But overall my thoughts were it just felt small scale.
Yeah.
It felt really, really small scale. Especially as you mentioned earlier, we had seen a variation of this fight earlier and it was done better. And this is the season finale, and you realize that we go the whole show without seeing Homelander go scorched earth.
Yeah.
Even now that he has this supposed power up, and we still never see it. So it felt like a missed opportunity for me at some points.
So there was a lot of speculation online, and I wish they had put something in the show to confirm this. Mm-hmm. But a lot of the speculation online was like, yeah, the V1 actually made him immortal, functionally immortal, but it also, wasn't as good as what he had in his blood. So like his powers actually would have been more unpredictable because the V1 they changed it for a reason. The actual V formula that they used on him was more potent or whatever, which is why he was stronger than Soldier Boy. Mm-hmm. And Soldier Boy was like the original, right. Perfect one or whatever. So, but the show never goes into that at all. Nope. So, a lot of people mentioned how Homelander seemed scaled down, even like when he still had his powers. Mm-hmm. And if you look at how it all panned out, it's hard to disagree with that. I think Amazon cut the budget significantly because I was reading an interview with Eric Kripke, and he said that scene in the Oval Office, they actually built that whole set, and they actually ended up using it in Vault Rising so they could bill it to the production cost of that show, and then they could just use it. And then they were like, by the way, you guys need to shoot everything you're going to shoot in here because we're about to fuck this thing up. Yeah. But I did love that, of course, once Homelander was depowered, he was insanely weak. Mm-hmm. And that works for Homelander as a character, and it also works for the Trump satire,
Oh, absolutely. That's one criticism I didn't understand online were people being upset that Homelander turned into a bitch when he lost his powers.
He was always a bitch.
Yeah, what did you expect to happen?
Yeah,
of course.
The powers, that was the problem, is that he was a bitch with powers.
Yeah. Yeah. Because like it takes a bitch to be a bully.
Yeah, 100%.
And you take away any kind of power that a bully has and all they have left is the bitch. And that's what we got with Homelander. So there's no problem that I see with him groveling, begging for his life, pleading, crying, pissing himself maybe. Of course he would.
Yeah. I actually loved where like the cameras were still rolling and like they showed the people in the little theaters or whatever. And they're like, oh, okay. Right. We're going to get up just in case he sucks this dude's dick.
Yeah. We don't really want to see this.
And, Butcher, the moment Butcher realizes that he's lost his powers or whatever, he just was like, oh, I've been waiting my whole life for this shit.
And I'll give Homelander a small sliver of credit here. And maybe he did this just to test if he really lost his powers or not. But either way, he gets hit with the fucking Kamiko chest beam, gets stripped of his powers. He does try to throw a punch at Butcher. Doesn't work. Then he says, I'll suck your dick.
Yeah. He also tried to fly away.
He did.
That shit was funny as hell.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no. That was not his day. I like how they went to the comic book scene, like when Butcher pops the head open with the crowbar.
Yeah.
That was a nice touch.
He's been waiting a long time for that.
A long, long time. Yeah.
I kind of wish that they had kept him alive because I do think that, I mean, and I see why you don't, right? Because you don't know if this beam is permanent or not. Mm-hmm. And you can't risk it not being. But like, the more appropriate fate to me for Homelander is for him to have to live as a regular person.
Yeah.
He is such a bitch, and he just deserved to suffer more. Yeah. But it was very satisfying seeing him get killed.
It was extremely satisfying to see that. And yeah, I just wish they had done a better job leading up to this moment, because it's the moment that we've been waiting for since season 1.
Yeah. I do also like that the rage wasn't the thing that actually fueled Kimiko. Because I feel like that's such an overdone trope, It's like, oh, we need you to be angry to be able to use your powers or whatever. And I did love some of Huey's stuff. Like, I feel like for most of season 4 and like the entirety of season 5 leading up to maybe the last 2 episodes, Huey was just a plot device, man. We lost so much of like that, him being the heart of the team, and being the only person on the team that really like tried to get to know the other people on the team and like relate to them on a human level.
Yeah, we
lost so much of that for Huey.
Yeah,
for a long time, and we did get that back towards the end, thankfully.
We did. So you mentioned earlier about how MM is always the character who tries to keep the team focused on the mission. Huey was always the character who was supposed to be the one to interject heart into the team.
Yes.
So, I mean, yes, he would be the most useless of all the Planeteers, but you still need him to summon Captain Planet.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But you're right, though, because there was a while there where it just seemed like he had nothing to do. But when they remembered that, okay, Huey is supposed to be the heart of this story, then they kind of got to bring it back around. He and Carl Urban, they work so well together that, even when they're given moments where they're just kind of spinning their wheels, they still make it work. And actually, I really enjoy their last scene together. I thought it was a pretty cool scene that we get to see them when they're in the vault building.
Agreed. Butcher, he had Lenny and then he lost him. Mm-hmm. And when he recruited Huey, Butcher knew that he needed somebody who would keep his worst impulses under control, because if left to his own devices, right, Butcher would have been a villain ultimately. And I mean, he really was here.
Yeah, the show did kind of a shit job because they tiptoed around it, and it's like they couldn't make up their mind if they wanted Butcher to be truly villainized or not. And I kind of wish they had dedicated themselves more to it.
I agree with Butcher here. I mean, I that might be a hot take or whatever, and it sucks because like we all love Annie, we all love Kamika, but Butcher's right. Yeah. Like there will be a worse Homelander. I mean, there's already fucking like obviously Bombsight's powers are gone, but like Bombsight and Soldier Boy would be just as bad as Homelander if they needed to be. You know? Having them around, if they decided to team up and fucking take over like he did, and we're both fully powered, that could be just as bad. I mean, Soldier Boy can just depower any suit that tries to stand against him,
Yeah. So, while that is correct, I guess, like, if you're thinking more big picture, what's stopping Vault from just making another formula?
Yeah, or they still have the V that they made Homelander with.
Yeah.
So what's stopping them from repeating that experiment? I mean, obviously you would think that, Mr. Edgar is wouldn't be dumb enough to do that shit again, but
listen, that character lived and dies off of the performance of Giancarlo Esposito.
100%. There is no character.
Yeah. I mean, come on. Anyone else plays that character, and he is 100% uninteresting.
Yeah, 100%.
Especially once it's maybe around season 3 when you start to realize he's just posturing. He doesn't have any plan.
Nope, he's got nothing.
Yeah.
Like the first time we saw this man talk to Homelander like he was a fucking spoiled child, we were like, what does this guy have that he can talk to this man this way?
If he had this virus in the tuck the whole time, then we'd be like, oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But that's not the case.
Yeah, well, they couldn't have done 5 seasons.
I know, yeah.
Amazon wanted to do 10, you know that.
Of this show?
Yeah, Eric Kripke was like, no. No, absolutely not. That's my thing. Is like the only way I could see that you could have done more than 5 seasons, and like as I've said, this really should have been 3, maybe 4 tops.
Yeah.
I like your idea of like the 3 seasons and then like a mini season of like the actual butcher villain.
Yeah.
The only way I could have seen this go further is like you kill Homelander in season 3, and then season 4 you bring a new villain in, a different kind of villain, and you have a new arc for them, multi-season arc for them. That's the only way I see this go longer.
Well, I think you presented this idea a couple episodes ago, and I thought it was pretty good. But maybe you don't kill Homelander in season 3, but what you do is you still introduce other actual villains, because I think that you and I were talking, and it's so weird how like in this universe where there's all these produced superheroes, we don't see any villains.
There's no actual supervillains. Yeah.
And it was like, well, 100% there would be somebody who would be a supervillain, an actual supervillain besides the ones that we know behind the scenes. Why not introduce something like that? Why introduce somebody who could maybe oppose Homelander, who maybe does have some good points, but they're also fucking really, really bad.
Yeah.
You know? And they're not just bad to the protagonist, they're bad to everybody,
Yeah.
And I think that maybe if we do something like that, have the boys take him out, Homelander gets the credit for it, or whatever, the 7 get the credit for it. I think that can potentially, if it's done well enough and interestingly enough, it can carry them for maybe a season.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a lot of different ideas that I feel like got left on the table, and there was so much blank space that we had in this show. And that really is my biggest complaint about it. Let's talk about Sister Sage.
Yep.
I was not satisfied with her arc at all.
No, I was roared for this character the moment that she was introduced, because as we've said so many times before, you can't write a character whose power is they're really smart unless you have some really smart writing.
Yeah, you can't give them that superpower if you don't have it.
Yeah. Ultimately, her power ended up being she's a really good con artist.
Yeah, because she's like, I'm like, okay. She's like, I just couldn't factor love into the equation. I just didn't understand it. Like, bitch, you weren't born yesterday.
Yeah.
The fact that human beings are irrational as fuck should have been very evident to you from jump.
But to her credit, let's be honest, man, it made 0 sense what Soulja Boy did.
Yeah, no sense at all. Honestly, probably the worst thing in the show is that moment where this happens because we need 2 more episodes and the plot needs it to happen.
Exactly.
It was terrible.
We need Homelander to get this V so he can do absolutely nothing with it.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing, right? Is like, we all thought the next episode was going to be Scorched Earth.
Yep.
Like, we were going to see Homelander just mass fucking killing people. Yeah, there could have been at least we could have seen like a Starlighter meeting or something, and he like lasers the whole building or some shit. He never does a single goddamn thing with it. We never see him make any use of those abilities. We never see it come into play. Not once.
Nope. It amounts to nothing.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing. And then Soulja Boy, like his arc, really, you talk about characters who we didn't need this season.
Honestly, this is a Stan Edgar thing, right? Mm-hmm. If you don't have Jensen Ackles, because there were so many moments where Soulja Boy is the only thing keeping me watching this season.
He's so good in the role.
But there was nothing for him to do.
Yep.
Like, Jensen Ackles is so good at this that I'm like, this motherfucker could actually play Steve Rogers, you know?
Yeah.
Like, he would have been a good Steve Rogers if he's too old. Right. But, like, I mean, I guess he is like 100, but, in the event that Chris Evans wasn't, it was always hard for me to envision someone else being Captain America. And I'm like, shit, man, they could have got Jensen Ackles.
Yeah, because he's got the chops for it.
Yeah.
And, he is just the way he plays the character is so good. He really is like the picture perfect Soulja Boy that you need here in this show. But unfortunately, he was here just for star power and to bring eyes, but he really didn't his character didn't add much value at all it just kind of delayed things to get us to episode 8.
We needed more musical performances from him.
Oh, that's what we needed.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we didn't get any
That's
of those.
true.
And that's the problem. That's the real problem.
I saw some kind of clip online of like him and Anthony Starr. They were being doing some kind of interview, and they were talking about that, and they were asked to like fill in like lyrics from that musical number.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, what is it? Fast Five Freddy told me everybody's fly.
Yeah, it was just the whitest version of that song I'd ever heard in my life. Yeah. It was hilarious.
So good.
Yeah.
Because he's not even like really singing it.
He's
anyway.
not. He's just because it's supposed to be Fast Five Freddy made everything, but no, the way he does it though is just Fast Five Freddy.
Yeah.
Everything's.
It's like a William Shatner version, you know. But he was tremendously cast, but he had nothing to do. Sister Sage was the same way. I hated the way her arc ended or whatever.
We at least should have got a shot of her at Harry Potter World or whatever.
Yeah, that would have been great at the end of like her just like in some like fucking Hogwarts roads or whatever, drinking some butterbeer.
That at least would have got a chuckle out of me.
Yeah. That would have been fantastic. But you know, I do love one of my favorite jokes from season 5. Where they're doing one of the Vault TV shows, and they were like, "Yeah, the Taylor Sheridan AI says this is the plot people want to see or whatever."
That was funny.
Fucking dying.
That was funny. Yes, yeah.
Because like, if you're gonna replace somebody with an AI, Taylor Sheridan would be the easiest one. Because like, just have them watch what he's already made. It's all the same show.
I mean, I've only seen a little bit of Yellowstone, but I can see where they're going with that.
Yellowstone, 1923, and then 1889.
Yeah,
is that it?
I think so.
1881, whatever. That one, Landman, like they're all the same fucking show, dude. I thought 1923 was actually going to be this like really kind of special thing. The first season of that was tremendous. But then the second season, just, it was not it, man. It was not it.
Man. What else did we get here? So, yeah, Sister Sage, that didn't really pan out to be anything.
Nope. What about the Deep, man? I actually, so we got Samuel L. Jackson as a shark.
Yes.
You know, highlight of the show, obviously. He got to say motherfucker as a shark. I do love that.
I mean, you know, listen. I do love me some Sam Jackson, but when I look and see that this show was budgetarily restrained,
right,
I do wonder.
Yeah, why did we do that?
Yeah,
this show also, you know, this show felt A-Train's absence. It also felt Firecracker's absence.
Yep,
like she was a highlight this season for me. I really loved her character this season.
Absolutely. In terms of characters who were on the inside with Homelander, she was the most interesting.
Absolutely.
And yeah, when she died, I mean, granted, that episode with her death and her death in and of itself were both excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, you felt her absence.
And you know, I feel like they also severely like underpowered Annie because she was such a force to be reckoned with in the earlier seasons. But like now she basically loses every 1v1. And I was wondering how they were going to end the Deep because they really teased like the fish had turned on him and obviously he was going to end up getting thrown in the ocean. And I'm like, they're going to eat him like piece by piece, you know. That's not quite how it worked. I would have preferred that over the head explosion death because this show has just done way too much of that.
This is another one of those moments for me where I wish that the show had either more creativity or more money or both.
Yeah.
Because he got in the water and let's say that, okay, Aquaman has beef with all the sea life. It's going to take a while before they can take him down.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what we've talked about this before, though, is like they're all just caricatures of.
They
like,
are.
The Deep is nowhere near as powerful as Aquaman.
Yeah, and you're right. But while the power scale isn't the same, his powers are still water based.
Yeah,
And he should have been able to do something.
Yeah, he still, he still fucking killed Noir on land.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
He's still a tough motherfucker. And I like, it was interesting because I was like, well, the fish got to fuck him up, but like, they got to let Annie kill him, right? You know, it's like, they can't just leave that. And then I like how when the fight scene with Homelander takes off, she's just like, oh, no, guys, I got him. And just straight up just pulls a Dragon Ball Z. We're going to go fight over here.
Yeah. Here should be good, Vegeta.
Yeah. This would be fine.
Pretty much what we got there. I do love their commitment to have the Deep never evolve as a character.
Yes.
Like, he's the one place where I think that it was done purposefully.
Yeah.
And thankfully, because, like, this is a character who, he doesn't learn. He doesn't get better. He's just an irredeemable asshole. And I even love that he got dressed down by Homelander right before he died.
Oh, that shit was great. Also, when he called Oh Father Brohaman.
Yo, yeah.
Some of his lines were incredible or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Where he's like, yeah, maybe you need like a crusader or whatever. And he's like, where did you learn about the Crusades? In the Bible. No, he's like,
it's not in the Bible.
Crusades are not in the Bible.
No.
And then he's like, let me guess, Indiana Jones. And then he said something else.
Yeah, what did
like,
he say?
Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Yeah, that was pretty funny. What'd you think of Ashley this season?
She's just a plot device, man. Smashly is she's just I think the actress did a good job, but the writing isn't there. I mean, I guess it was cool for her to, finally kind of take her moment, know, and go, okay, this is my chance. I'm probably gonna get killed anyway now that they're reading everybody's minds and shit. So
I love that despite her best efforts and despite her best rah-rah speech, she still got put in jail.
Yep. I loved that where they were like, and then she was tried and unanimously impeached moments later.
Yeah. Because when she gave that speech, I was like, there's no fucking way that she's still going to be in office. And then sure enough, nope.
That's another thing with Sister Sage is like she got off so easy.
Oh, yeah.
For having, she got what she wanted, ultimately. For having, orchestrated all of this and helped Homelander take over. It's, she just got away with it.
She did. Yep. We haven't really spoken a whole lot about the Butcher and Huey stuff. So once Homelander is killed, they go back and they have their Fast and Furious cookout.
Family.
Their family.
I love that Butcher gives this whole speech to Ryan, and Ryan's like, "This doesn't change anything."
Yeah, you're still a piece of shit.
He's gone. I still don't want anything to do with you. It's like I'm just rid of one of the shitty father figures in my life. I don't want the other one either.
Yeah.
And that really hurts Butcher. It is weird that they just like put Terror dying in the show.
Yeah, well, he dies in the comic book around the same time too.
Yeah, it was just so throwaway and fast in the show.
It was like in the comics. Dare I say? Because people hate like when you say anything good about the comic books because of the nature of the comics.
Right.
But like it is done, I think, more tactfully in the comics to add to Butcher's kind of deteriorating mental state. And again, like, it's not that it's done bad here in the show. It's just the Butcher arc here happened so fast.
Yeah.
And
it's like 10 minutes.
Yeah. Like the whole thing. So
and I, like I said, I agreed with him. So some of that was hard to watch, just from a standpoint of I'm releasing that fucking virus.
I guess I'm almost with you in Butcher, but the show added in like this one little caveat that I wish they didn't because it's kind of a cop-out, but it was the caveat of we don't know how much damage this could do to humans.
Right. And
so theoretically it could have hurt or killed hundreds of thousands or millions of other people.
Sure, yeah. And in that regard, Like, obviously, it's not worth that.
Yeah.
You know, but if you got this thing and you know it only kills soups,
Right.
It's like if you got a magic button you can press and everybody who's a soup just dies. For the good of humanity, press that shit. You know, for the future of the world, press it. In my opinion.
Yeah, that's tough, right? Because let's look at it from this angle. Like in the Marvel universe, there's good mutants and there's bad mutants. There's mutants who go out there and save people, and then there's mutants who go out there and they commit acts of terrorism or, you know, just mass murder. And you have, you know, you're just a normal person, but you have this button, like you said, this metaphorical button that could just kill all mutants so that you don't have to worry about this ever again. Do you still press it? And at what point is like this just, what point is this just like a form of xenophobia or genocide that you're committing? And
well, I think it's a little different with mutants, right? Because they're like you said, there are good mutants. There's like almost no good soups in this world. You know what I mean? It's like 95% of them are horrible. And Vault still exists, right? I mean, you know, it's like if the X-Men worked for Vault, you'd press the button. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, that's kind of awful.
Tune in this week for X-Vault.
X-Vault, yeah. Oh shit. But the moment here with Huey and Butcher and Vault Tower, I thought was pretty cool.
It was good.
Yeah. You know, they have this moment here, and they realize that okay, neither one of them is going to budge, and it ends or it results in a fist fight. One that Huey knows he's got to know that he's not going to beat Butcher in a fist fight,
right?
But you know he tries, and the thing that saves Huey is that when Butcher looks at him at one point, he sees like glimpses of Lenny, and that distracts Butcher long enough for Huey to pick up a gun, and he shoots Butcher right in the stomach. And
it's a bad way to die.
Yeah, that's a slow, agonizing death.
Mm-hmm.
But this does give them the moment to have like a candid conversation before Butcher dies.
You just pray that you bleed out in that instance.
You have to, because there's so much that goes on inside the human body, man, and having hot lead just ripped through all that.
Yeah, because otherwise you're going to have a very slow death by like sepsis or some kind of infection or bad times all around.
Yeah. But, you know, like this death scene, I thought it was needed. I'm glad that the show did it. Like so many other things in this show, I just wish there was another way we could have gotten here cleaner. But again, this is something that needed to happen, and thankfully they decided to go this route. What you think of this whole scene?
I really thought like you did. I thought this needed so much more room to breathe. It's just so crazy that like it reminded me of that episode of South Park. It's like, why is it so easy for children to sneak into the Pentagon? Like, why is it so easy for these people just to walk into the chamber of the seven? You know?
Yeah. I get that there's a lot going on in the country, but
yeah. And I know y'all broken here before, but come on, man. And like the fact that Huey knew exactly that's where Butcher went, you know, it's one thing to know, okay, he's going to go to the tower, but why would he be there?
Yeah.
That there is no seven, and you just killed the last member, so.
Yeah, and that's a really great point, right? Because how many soups besides the seven have you ever really seen inside that building?
A couple in like crime analytics, and that's really it.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, oh, I'm waiting on him to clock in for that. What the fuck do they do there? But, you know, that aside.
I think, like, if Butcher really wanted to make a difference, he would go after Stan Edgar.
Yeah.
He'd go after... He would make it so that Vault itself can't function anymore.
Yeah.
Like, eventually, you have to assume that, well, maybe with the exception of a few, but eventually most of these soups, they're going to die out. And if there's no more Compound V, then, all right, Butcher, like, you may be playing the long game, but you won.
Yeah.
But he didn't really want to go after Vault. He wanted to go directly after the soups.
Yeah. And that's fair. It all feels too quick. I think if anything, if you were going to do it this way, I would have ended episode 7 with like them busting into the Homelander's address.
Yeah.
Huge cliffhanger, right? They bust into the White House. Then we get the fight with Homelander and Butcher at the very beginning of the finale. Like, nobody would have seen that coming, really.
Yep.
And then it's like, okay, well, what are we going to do for the next 50 minutes? And then you could have done this in over at least an hour, or so, rather than what we got, which was so rushed,
Yeah.
It was just kind of a part of the epilogue.
It really was. Yeah. Then they have the funeral for Butcher. And it's funny, right? Because they don't really have nice things to say about Butcher.
Right.
But they all, in their own ways, say their goodbyes and that they're going to miss him and this, that, and the third. And yeah, and then this is when we get like the actual ending for our main characters. This is when we see adopting Ryan and bring him into his family.
Yeah.
And that's probably the best case scenario for Ryan.
It really is. He's the best role model out of any of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, like, having a place where he can have some kind of stability, 100% was the best place for him. And like you said earlier, we see Kamiko. It's like some kind of French restaurant.
She got the poodle they were talking about eating.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And so that was really good for her. And she's just, and I think the thing I like about this the most, and maybe this is me adding information into it because Lord knows this show is not good at nuance, but it felt like she was finally finding the self-love that she always needed.
Yeah.
And so I really like that aspect of it.
Agreed.
Who else do we get? Oh, obviously, Huey and Starlight.
Yeah.
Huey and Annie.
And Annie's prego.
Yeah, she's super prego. And she's still out there fighting crime. That can't be good for the baby.
She's super powered. It's okay.
I mean, sure. Yeah.
We established that like every soup has super durability.
That is true.
Which is weird, but
it is very weird, and I don't feel like that was always a thing. But all right, I'll go with it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I don't feel like that was always a thing. They just kind of rolled that in. Mm-hmm. They forgot about a lot, from the early seasons of this show. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I was pretty happy with how everything turned out. Mm-hmm. I wasn't really happy with how we got there in a lot of cases. Obviously, you always, from the very first episode of the show, if you've read the comic, this is going to end with Huey killing Butcher.
Yep.
It has to end that way. That's the only way it works full circle.
Yep. But
I'm not incredibly thrilled with how we got there. Mm-hmm. The Huey Starlight relationship was all over the place for a long time. You want to see them end up together. I don't know that the show ever really. It's like the show would put them on the rocks just because, and then now they're magically fine. I don't. But I really loved and Kamiko's endings, especially.
Yeah.
We didn't get Harry Potter World Sister Sage. So.
Yeah, she could be so dumb that she just never made it there.
That's true. Yeah. And then, Ashley's ending, like you said, was really good.
Yeah, that was funny and fitting.
And we got, what's his name from Supernatural? The president.
The president?
Yeah, he calls Huey and offers him the CIA
job.
Yeah.
I know you're talking about...
I can't remember his name in the show, but...
Yeah, fuck. But yeah, I forgot. Yeah, he was the president. Yeah, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I forget the name, but so we know that they're doing the Vault Rising spinoff show, and that's the one that takes place in the past, right?
Yeah, and so it's gonna be Clara and Soldier Boy and Bomb Sight.
Wouldn't Noir be there too?
I don't think Noir would have been.
Was he not there?
He wasn't a.
Okay.
No, he wasn't a V1.
Okay. Couldn't remember.
And it'll be that weird guy that was like stuck to the wall in that one episode.
Oh yeah, he had to be there. Whatever his power was, Pheromone Man or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's Private Angel, Torpedo. Thomas Godolkin will be in it. Apparently, okay. Ethan Slater is going to be reprising his role.
Cool.
Bomb Sight. Clara, of course, and Soldier Boy.
Yeah. Okay. So with Vault Rising on the horizon, whenever that comes out, I assume sometime next year. You have to wonder: are we really going to get flash forwards to present day?
I don't know, man, because Soldier Boy just kind of Homelander put his ass back to sleep, put him back in stasis,
and then also maybe it was just me, but it almost felt like they were hinting that Clara was still alive.
Yeah, and that never paid off at all.
No,
and I thought that whole thing was really odd.
It was very bizarre.
You know, they did a whole thing where it's like, well, did you see a body? And it was kind of like, oh, you know, oh, I didn't. But then you were thinking she would show up, but that never happened. And so I'm like, do they intend to do, you know, something in this Vault Rising show where like they show some present day Soldier Boy and like Clara nonsense? Because she should be functionally immortal if she's got the V1.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's tough.
Right. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting show, and hopefully, this goes without saying, but hopefully the writing is a little bit better in this Vault Rising show, because the protagonist, and I mean this in the strictest sense of the term, but the protagonists, your main characters, they're not really going to be good people.
No, I mean, this is Soldier Boy with no growth, none of the growth we saw him have in Season 5.
Right.
This is going to be much closer to the one that we saw in Season 3.
Yeah. Clara, the super Nazi.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? I mean, Bomb Sight seemed like he was a decent guy in comparison.
Yeah. But he's probably also a dickbag back then.
Probably. Yeah. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see how this show plays out and see what reasons they give us to root for these people.
Yeah.
It's always been a hard line to walk. It's always been tricky, you know. Whenever you get a team of bad guys, they always seem to turn out good by the end of whatever you're watching. Whether it's Suicide Squad or Thunderbolts or whatever it is, they always end up being okay. These are good guys now,
and they can't do that.
They
in
can't
this
do
show.
that here. Yeah.
And like, there's not going to be The Boys they can go to.
Right.
This is going to be like if this show was called The Seven, and it just followed them.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have my doubts. I'll watch it just because, you know, Jensen Ackles.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it won't keep me for that. It can't be just that.
Yeah.
And honestly, if the budget is going to be similar to this show, maybe they're going to do like, you know, we talked about it, like have actual supervillains that these guys take down.
So there will be actual quote unquote bad guys. Now, will they actually be bad guys or just propagandized to look like bad guys? That's going to be the question. What about the Boys Mexico? Do we know anything about that? Is that still happening?
I've not heard anything else beyond that. I mean, I know that Diego Luna was attached to that.
Oh. But
I've heard nothing about it for like 2 years now. I've heard it mentioned, but I have heard of no progress on it or anything like that. And that presumably was going to take place after this, you know, main arc of the Boys. But I don't know. Who knows? Like, they haven't filmed anything, so.
Nor have we really heard anything about that since at least a year ago.
Yeah.
No more Gen V.
Nope.
And speaking of that,
man, we didn't talk about that shit.
Yeah.
Holy fuck! Did they shit on those characters? What was the point? I mean, for them just to show up for 2 seconds to be sent away again because they're the B team or whatever.
Yep.
I mean, Marie Moreau should have been able to damn near 1v1 Homelander.
That's the way they built her up.
And then the whole thing was a complete nothing burger. Like, they double fucked themselves. Mm-hmm. They shit on Gen V by making it a C plot to the Boys.
Yep.
And then they shit on them inside the Boys by making them irrelevant.
Oh, bro, in like the worst way possible, too, because, you know, they show up and I think it's MM who says something like, okay, so this is the one that's, you know, supposed to be like Homelander power or whatever. And, and Marie goes, no, actually, I'm not that strong.
Yeah.
I was like, all right.
And then Andy's like, you guys get out of here. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah. And then they peaced out.
Yeah.
And then we saw them having Coronas at the end of, you know, the Fast and Furious.
Yeah. Right.
But that was, family. that was all we saw from them.
They must have been on set for like 4 hours.
Tops, right?
Yeah, for the whole season.
That shit was so lackluster.
I would have preferred they just not
Yep.
put him in the season at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, agreed. Like, they could have just paid lip service and said, yeah, we had to send them off to Mexico or whatever to deal with whatever vague thing they needed to be dealt with. But, yeah, man, that was a bland nothing burger of a plot thread that just didn't do anything. So you hope that all of this is worth it for whatever Vault Rising is going to be, because that's really what all this is about.
Yeah.
And I can tell you this, it's not that a prequel show can't be better than its main stand-in, but if the main stand-in has a low ceiling on it, then much less people are going to care about watching that prequel.
So much of season 5 was like dedicated to backdoor piloting Vault Rising, and I don't get that at all. I don't think, other than Soulja Boy, who we already knew, I don't think that anybody's really going to remember these other characters or care about them. Now, they could give us a reason to care about them, but all the setup that they tried to do for it in season 5 was nonsense. It didn't belong. Like, if that had been in season 4, fine. But this is your final season where you're building up to this big, explosive, ending or whatever for your whole series, and it just kind of limped along until we got to the inevitable conclusion.
Unfortunately, that is what we got here. So, with all that being said, man, are you ready to score this thing and get out of here?
Score it. I think it's my turn.
Do you want to score? How do you want to score? Just this episode? Just this season?
I think, why don't we do these 4 episodes?
Okay.
And then the show.
All right.
The entire show.
Okay.
This was butter scraped over too much bread. These final 4 episodes, honestly, when they killed A-Train in the very first episode of season 5, I was like, okay, the gloves are fucking off. Let's go. Mm-hmm. And then the second episode was terrible. And you're like, what's happening? And every single week you're just waiting for the gloves to be off, and they truly never were until the finale. And that was just really disappointing. I also think Eric Kripke could have shut the fuck up as well.
Seasons ago.
It's like, your show is bad when you have to come out and like put commentary out about it every episode, either apologizing for it or being like, well, people can say it's filler because it's a weekly release. No, dog, we say it's filler because it's filler. Mm-hmm. Didn't like that. Everybody was waiting for this thing to go completely off the rails, and it really never did until the actual finale. And there was almost no momentum in your final season, and you don't want that to happen. So, when we still, in episodes 5 and 6, and the gloves were still on, you're just like, where is this going? And then we lost Firecracker, and you really feel that absence. There were great moments in these episodes, but I gotta say, in episodes 5, 6, and 7, there's maybe 10 minutes that I thought was great TV. And the rest of it is just plot device, point A to point B. Some of it I would even say is filler. Most of it I would say is mid. Didn't like it. We've talked kind of at length here tonight about what we did and didn't like from the finale. I think all the characters ultimately ended up mostly where we would have wanted them to end up. But the journey, it's a journey, not a light switch. Mm-hmm. And you don't get credit for the start and end of the journey if the journey itself wasn't fulfilling or doesn't feel worth it. And I gotta say here, it doesn't. If I could go back in time and not waste the 40 hours or whatever of this I've watched, I probably would take it. There is more. I think overall on this show, there is more bad than good. there is a lot of good in the first 2 seasons, especially.
Yep.
But that just there's diminishing returns after that. So for these final 4 episodes, if I had to score just the finale, I probably would give this I'd give it a much higher score. I'd probably score the finale around like an 8 if I had to. But these last 4 episodes here, I'm going to give them a 6.8 for the final 4 episodes. The show overall, I'm going to land the overall show of The Boys on a 7.2. A lot of that is me, giving huge credit to the first 2 seasons. The 3rd season I thought was pretty good, but with it was Born Again season 1. I wasn't really that disappointed until the finale. Season 4 I could completely live without. We didn't need it, and there was nothing important that happened in it. I'll be honest with you, from Stormfront being killed at the end of season 2 until the finale, if you take all of that out, you really don't miss anything. There was really, truly nothing important to the plot that happened in that time, other than like them developing the virus and then giving Kimiko the chest beam.
Yep.
That's it. Everything else ultimately ended up being irrelevant. The entire V1 plot from this season ended up being irrelevant because it didn't come into play.
Yep.
So yeah, those are my scores, man. Where you at?
Yeah, I'm actually not too far off from you. Surprise, surprise. I think that this show had all the potential in the world, right? Because if you look at the theme of what The Boys is, like the basis of what this show is, it had the perfect opportunity to take this comic book that was overly raunchy, overly sophomoric, overly satirical to comic books and whatnot, and they had the opportunity to really do something special. And for 2 seasons, they did. Yes. They did something very special, to the point where people were shitting on the comic books because those 2 seasons of television were so excellent and well done. Like, yes, this is what you should do with this. Like, this is excellent.
Then they started to become the thing they were parodying.
Yeah, 1,000%. 1,000%. And by the time we get to these last 4 episodes, which is what I want to cover first, I think that the last 4 episodes of season 5 of The Boys is just more of the same of what we got from seasons 3, 4, and the rest of 5, which is them really spinning their wheels. And them spinning their wheels was frustrating enough in season 4 and the first half of season 5, but now we only have a few more hours left with episodes 5, 6, 7, and 8, and they were still just spinning their wheels, and it just got so frustrating, and I don't want to have to deal with this anymore. They had some cool things and some cool ideas that either needed to be fleshed out more or just stripped down and give us just the bare necessities. And somehow they managed to do neither, and it's so frustrating. I've said my piece throughout this review about how I feel about those episodes. I'm not that big on the finale as you are.
I actually thought that would be the case. I was like, I liked this, but I think Ace is not going to care for it.
No, and it's because like even though it was the best they could have done with how they painted themselves in the corner, what they've done still wasn't good. There were some good ideas here, and there were some good moments. But I mean, hell, this is damn near like my version of Born Again season 1 finale. Like I just really didn't have a good time here. Like it was just a bunch of pointless moments with a few integral moments sprinkled in between.
Born Again season 1 finale would have been like they get through the hallway and they're outside the door to the Oval Office and they're like, yeah, I don't really think we could do this. And then they just leave.
But ultimately, I'm going to give the back half of season 5, I'm going to give it a 6.3 out of 10. I think that episode 5 for me, does a lot of the heavy lifting, and then there's a few moments sprinkled in between that kind of help bolster it too. But by and large, it's mid. And as far as the entire series goes, we were actually really close on this. I had it scored at a 7 out of 10. I think that the first 2 seasons, arguably, are some of the best seasons of television that Amazon has put out.
Yeah.
They were
especially
really
live
good.
action.
Yes, especially live action, 100%. It felt like prestige television. You go back and watch the early stuff of The Boys, and it feels and looks and plays out like prestige television.
Yeah.
And something happens along the way where it's like the thing that older restaurants were accused of doing back in the day, where with the grand opening, you put out all your best stuff. And so, like, your highest quality meats and breads and cheeses or whatever, and people are like, oh, this place is amazing.
Yeah.
I'm going to come back. And then when they come back, you give them the mid shit. And the only thing to think about was, well, the first time I came here, man, it was so good.
Yeah, maybe next time.
Yeah, maybe next time. Yeah.
And
that's what they did to us.
They were still maybe next time in us.
Exactly.
All this time later. As you were saying all that, I was like, it almost feels like they let the writers from the first 2 seasons come back and do the finale. Mm-hmm. But they were like, what the fuck did you guys do?
Yeah, they got J.J. Abrams,
Yeah. Yeah, he's got to come in and fix The Last Jedi, you know. It wasn't that bad, but...
Right, no, it wasn't quite that.
There's a difference between, like, I'm bored with this and want it to be over, and, like, actively making me seethe with rage.
Right. Yeah, this show didn't get me there.
No.
Thank goodness. So yeah, folks, that is our thoughts, feelings, and review of The Boys Season 5 and The Boys TV show as its entirety.
That's it, folks. It's been a long road. We've reviewed every bit of it.
Was it 2019? Was that Season 1?
Yeah, I think so.
Man, it's hard to believe that 2019 was 7 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, Endgame.
Wow.
It's 7 years old.
It's crazy. It hurts my feelings that 7 years ago I was still in my 30s.
Yeah. It's crazy, man, because, like, I think for our generation, seeing Endgame in theaters, it felt like such a moment, right? Like, it was the end of an era. And it really was, like, not just in the entertainment space, like, the year after that we got hit with the pandemic. Yep. And, like, that honestly has changed life as we know it, right? I mean, for everybody. And, like, life has never gone back to pre-pandemic life, there's still things to this very day, all these years later, that are still, we're still living in that post-pandemic world. And it's just insane to think about how much impact, that had on everything. And here we are all these years later, and, like, the movie industry still hasn't truly recovered, a lot of talk, we're going to be reviewing Mando and Grogu on Wednesday. Mm-hmm. A lot of talk has been had about, like, that this is going to be a financial flop for Disney, even though it made like $160 million in its opening weekend or whatever, which was the budget. The budget for this was significantly lower than most Star Wars movies. And it's wild that we're still in that environment,
Well, so many of these movies nowadays, especially Disney movies, like, you look at the budget, and then, they always say, if you really want to know the true budget, you take it and you multiply it by 2 with marketing, and that's really what you got. Yeah. And it's like, man, the budget for some of these movies are like the GDP of a small fucking nation. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so it's like, of course they have to make so many hundreds of millions or maybe even billions of dollars to really be profitable. But you look at something like, I think they said The Backrooms, which I think had a budget of, I don't know. Like,
I think it was like 11 million or something.
11 to 17 million, something like that. Yeah. Relatively speaking, a lower budget for a Hollywood movie, and, it made, I think, 70 in this opening week.
Well, that one has a lot more to it, though. They spent years and years building that following up online. Mm-hmm. The Gen Z kids eat that shit up.
They really do. Somebody kept the Five Nights at Freddy's movies going too. So
yeah, it was the same fucking people. Yeah. Honestly, though, Gen Alpha also really loves that shit. So, yeah, I mean, with the back rooms and kind of these like low budget horror movies, like obviously you can turn that trick a couple times, but I mean, it's still crazy that we're in a world where people are over here like, oh my god, this movie made $100 million. When 10 years ago, movies were making $2 billion.
Yeah. But I mean, again, like you look at something like Endgame and its budget, and you're like, it made probably the most money of any movie ever.
Right.
But then you look like shit. They kind of had to looking at the budget.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you look at Avatar 3, right? I mean, it cleared $1 billion, and Disney's like, "Yeah, we probably won't make another.
Yeah, probably won't do another one of these. Yeah, we cut it close."
Yeah, it's like, what? and so there is like something there, I think where the budgets for these things are just exploding, and I don't know like what the real true cause of that is. I don't know if it's because effect studios, like I know the compute costs are huge now, and like these big budget effects like take a lot of compute, and that's why I think you've seen a lot of visual effects suffer as well, because like that stuff is so expensive to do now with like computers and computer parts and things like that costing so much because of like AI. And then obviously like the actual production budgets are skyrocketing as well. And it feels like they're going to have to rein that in some. And we've seen that like Mando and Grogu, they spent less money on this, but I've heard that the break even for them is still like $500 million because the theaters get their cut.
Yeah.
And then obviously they spent a ton marketing this movie. And I don't know, man. I don't know what the future holds. It seems like it's just so much more of a gamble right now than it's ever been. Like if you look at the really big explosion of Hollywood in like the 70s, Star Wars, from Star Wars forward. It's like from the very first Star Wars till the pandemic, the movie industry was this just constantly uphill thing, culminating with the MCU and Endgame being like the biggest fucking movie ever. James Cameron can suck a dick. I don't care. Nobody cares about those movies. And then it's like, the pandemic came in and like the streaming war started and all of that happened. And then now it just seems like it's a bigger gamble than it ever has been to make a movie.
Yeah, and I think that ultimately so many people saw that you look at what these Marvel movies are doing. Holy shit. I'm a greedy studio exec. I want some of that money.
Yeah.
And so everyone tries to go after that, and they're thinking, okay, so what if we just throw a bunch of money at it, then we can also do that. I mean, even Disney started to parody themselves in that regard.
I mean, you look at Amazon, right, with Rings of Power. Jeff Bezos is on record saying, I want you to get me some of that Game of Thrones money.
Right.
And they spent $1 billion fucking dollars on that show. And everybody thought, okay, well, they're contracted for 50 hours of TV.
Yep.
So that $1 billion is going to cover all 50 hours. And then as it turns out, like by the time they finished the wrapping on season 1 and the writing for season 2, they had blown through almost all of it.
Crazy.
And I'm like, there's not even anybody fucking famous in this show. So that's not where the production budget is. But it's just like, it's insane to me, like what they're willing to spend to draw these audiences in.
I guess I just think that there needs to be a balance, right? Yes, you can have your occasional, okay, we're going to put all our chips in this and put down all of our money on this thing and try to do something great and grandiose with it. But you also need to have your smaller, maybe more thought intuitive, more creative type smaller movies. I look at it this way. The first John Wick movie didn't have a high budget. And not only did it not have a high budget, but it ended up doing extraordinarily well for an R-rated movie.
Yeah.
I mean, extraordinarily well. I mean, to the point where we see what happened with the franchise.
Yeah.
But, as the movies went on, what happened? Okay, well, we're going to give you guys a higher budget. And, we're going to, and it just kept, and you look at like the first John Wick movie, like, man, this is a really cool, like, kind of enclosed, capsulated thing. And then you look at like the last one, and it's like, okay, we got flaming shotguns, and we got, and like it's just it balloons, and then it starts to become the thing that it wasn't originally intended to be.
Yeah.
And I just think that's kind of like where a lot of Hollywood is, where they move with this mentality of if we throw more money at it, then we'll get more money out of it.
Yeah, there's I think the very different business models too, where it's like, well, we've talked about this before, where it's like, okay, I don't care. So, we talk about like the Mistborn movies being greenlit. Okay. Apple's paying for that, and they seem to be very cool with like, okay, we're going to make this right. We're going to spend the money, and like, we're going to release it in theaters. And if it does well in theaters, great. But like, we ultimately want to get the eyes on this for Apple TV. So either way, and Netflix is kind of the same. They're like, oh yeah, when they were trying to buy WB, they're like, yeah, we'll release in theaters for a few weeks, and then it's going to come to streaming because that's our real customer. And that business model seems to work very well for them. Netflix is doing super well, but like for Disney, it seems like they don't have that mentality for something. Like, I mean, you look at the Mall show, right? It was number one on Disney Plus for weeks after it came out. Like, not just in the Star Wars section, but like across the entire program. And I'm like, this is the same segment of kind of your Star Wars fandom that you kind of refuse to make things in. Like, this is targeting the same, like, the storyline they're going with here was going to be the plot for the Solo sequel. That was going to be a Maul trilogy. He was going to be the main bad guy in that trilogy. Yeah. And you guys shelved this, but people love it. And you were like, oh, well, we'll let Dave Filoni animate the shit. And it took until he was in charge for him to get it done.
Yeah.
He was like, this is a story that people want to see, that people like this character. And so Disney just doesn't seem to operate by that. It's like, we want to release it in theaters, and it either sinks or swim, and then we're going to make these breakneck decisions accordingly. They don't seem to really factor in the effect of Disney Plus on like how well it does on Disney Plus. Because if you look at it, regardless of how they do on at the box office, every single MCU movie is still a banger hit on Disney Plus. Mm-hmm. I mean, even like the Marvels, when it hit Disney Plus, it still was number one for a while. You know, so it's just the different business models. It seems like Disney and like Sony and some of the other studios are working on an outdated business model.
Yeah, something's got to give, but one conversation that I'm sure that will continue in just a couple of days from now is whether or not Mando and Grogu should have been put out in theaters, or whether or not this could have been a really big, cool release on Disney Plus. We've had this conversation months ago leading up to this, and I think we'll have it again in conclusion in a few days from now.
Yeah, it seems, I mean, I can go ahead and tell you now, my answer is going to be that it should have always been a TV show, right? Mm-hmm. Like, we were just talking about this, and like I said, we'll talk about it more Wednesday, but looking at it, this is a thing where they should have just made like 1,000 episodes of this.
Yeah. And
it never should have been a movie, because Disney can make this show and it's well liked. They can make it for very cheap. Like, they own the volume, right? Like, they can make stuff in the volume. It's way cheaper than shooting on set or on location. The main two characters are a fucking doll and a stuntman in a suit.
Yep.
You only need Pedro Pascal for like 15 fucking minutes plus like his ADR.
Yep.
And nobody else in this fucking show is really famous. And if they are, they're a cameo. Like, Sigourney Weaver's character can pop in, or
Martin Scorsese.
Yeah. Fucking Giancarlo Esposito, like even like when that was a big thing, he was never in the show that much.
Yeah.
It's very much they did really well doing this kind of Gunsmoke kind of format.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it just works so well. And I don't understand why you would upend that and then try to make this movie. And from the marketing and some of the reviews I've read, like I said, we haven't seen it yet. It very much seems like, and I've seen interviews with Jon Favreau where he said this too, is like, oh, well, we didn't incorporate all these characters from the show because we want this to be a stepping on point for someone to watch Star Wars. And I'm like, this is the biggest fandom on earth.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you doing? Just make a thing. George Lucas never went, oh, this would be a good stepping on point.
Right.
He made the thing and didn't give a fuck whether you liked it or not. Fortunately, people did. Mm-hmm. And A New Hope doesn't hold your hand or baby you.
Right.
You step into this world and there's aliens and fucking lightsabers, and I hate the term laser sword. I don't ever want it to be used in anything ever. But there's lasers and there's fucking weird ass aliens and there's spaceships. And there's a fucking smuggler walking around with a big ass fucking 8-foot dog that, he believes he can understand. Mm-hmm. And you either get on board with that or you get up and leave the theater. you know? And it just feels like with this movie, they just tried to make yet another Disney, lowest common denominator, fun. You just come sit in the theater and turn your brain off. Situation. Yeah. And I hope I'm wrong about that. I don't think I am. We'll see coming Wednesday.
Yeah, we'll see for sure. But I guess in conclusion, and then we wrap up this podcast. But I just think that the Mando and Grogu movie is a result in Hollywood always being a step and a half behind.
Yeah.
When they greenlit this movie, The Mandalorian was the hottest TV show on the planet.
Yeah.
It was big. And everyone was talking about it, and everyone was in love with this show. I guarantee you, that is when this movie got greenlit. That is when this movie was in pre-production, when this movie started being written, was when this thing was just the hottest thing ever. And
that show saved their entire franchise.
It did.
A lot of people forget, The Last Jedi had completely murdered the fandom. And this show brought it back.
Yep.
This is the show that literally went and, like a phoenix from the fucking ashes, pulled this fandom back from the damage they had done to it with the sequels. And for them to just kind of let that thread kind of dangle into the point of, I hate to use the term obscurity, but how long has it fucking been since an episode of this show came out? And did anybody particularly like the third season?
No. And that's the problem, though. So, by the time this was greenlit, the show was hot back then. Like, The Mandalorian as an IP was super hot by then. But you look at it now, and it's just not the same thing anymore.
Yeah.
And so, but we'll see. I'm going to hope for the best and keep my fingers crossed. But yeah, I just have this sinking suspicion that this is something that I could have saved my money for and watched it on Disney Plus like I do with everything else with The Mandalorian. But, hey, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
We'll see in just a few short days, folks.
Oh, my goodness. Caleb, do you have anything else before we wrap this one up?
No, man. Just it's good to be back. I'm excited about our slate of things to come. Really excited to be back in the theater with you guys. It looks like the homie Kay and probably the homie Oz are going to be joining us on Wednesday. So it just feels like it's been a long time since we all went to the theater and watched the movie and then came back here and did the review. And that's kind of like, I feel like one of the essential pillars of this show is that experience of going, us going to the theater and coming straight back here to cut the episode.
Yep.
We actually had it worked out. We were gonna watch the boys finale live and then come in and here and give you the results right after, our thoughts on it. And unfortunately we didn't get to do that. So I'm really happy we're gonna be doing this. And then we'll have Supergirl, I think, coming up. That's the next time.
Supergirl in a couple weeks.
And then the Odyssey is coming right after that.
Yep, the Odyssey is right around the corner too. Then our other TV shows, like I said, we have the Mall TV show and Spider New War.
Yeah, we definitely got to get on that.
So our slate is still very busy. And as of today, as of this recording, we have exactly 2 months before the release of Brand New Day.
Oh, that's so crazy. Yeah. I'm so excited for that. We have a lot of the homies, like we're the only ones who are like Marvel current out of our friend group that like have seen everything.
Right.
And like the homie Dylan is almost like he's working through Born Again right now.
Yep.
And the homie Oz just finished the Punisher TV show, like the old one, and he's about to start on Born Again.
Good.
So I am excited for them to kind of be up to speed on everything.
Right.
Because there's some really cool and like compelling stuff that has come out lately. I gotta say, I mean, unless these two movies are not good, this is the year that Marvel, got back on the horse, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, we're gonna have to see, and I think Spider-Man and an Avengers movie, people will turn out for those.
Yeah, Spider-Man's gonna print money. It doesn't matter.
Yep.
That movie could be dog shit. Spider-Man 3 made a lot of money.
Oh yeah, I think that the true litmus test to see their standing with the audience would be whatever movies they have coming out next year. Like, they're non-Avengers movies, they're non-Spider-Man movies. Will people turn up to see them?
Yeah, I mean, Spidey makes $1 billion. Avengers, like, Doomsday needs to make considerably more than that, I'm sure. But yeah, I mean, do we know what's on the slate after that? I mean, we know Secret Wars, but
yeah, I don't know if Disney even knows what's on the slate right now.
I have heard that the movie in between them is supposed to be Black Panther 3, but I've also heard that that's going to be the first movie after Secret Wars.
Yeah. I'm not sure. At one point we knew, but I think they've switched things up so much now.
Yeah.
I don't have any idea.
Yeah, a lot of things have been in that slot. There was a point where Doctor Strange 3 was going to be in that slot, and then we missed that. There was a point where Brand New Day was going to be there, actually.
Yep.
It was going to be released in between them. So now I don't know if we're 100% sure. That should worry us.
A little bit. Yeah.
Are they gonna pull they're just gonna say fuck it and like there's not anything in between them? Is Secret Wars gonna be the next Marvel movie after Doomsday?
You know what? Fiscally speaking or financially speaking, that may be the smartest move from them if they're not super confident in what they had.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if that's what they want to do. As a fan, I wouldn't love it, but I understand.
Yeah.
So we're gonna see, folks.
We're gonna see.
Yeah, and one of these days when they release an actual trailer, full length trailer for Avengers Doomsday, we'll be here for that too.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's still weird that Dune got a trailer like 4 months ago.
I know.
So.
And here we are, but. Homies, that's going to be all for now. Hopefully you guys have really enjoyed this episode, our extensive talk about Euphoria.
Yeah.
And video games such as...
so you and, I hate to cut you off there, but you and Brendan are actually going to be doing Masters of the Universe, right?
That is tentatively on the docket. We have to schedule a time for us to go see that, but yeah, that is in the works. So that's going to be interesting too, man. I know how much you wanted to be there.
Yeah, see, I got it in my contract actually that anything with Jared Leto in it, I automatically skip.
Yeah, and I still need to talk to the committee about that because I think that we need to have that removed from your clause.
Well, actually, that's going to be difficult because I finally started answering their emails.
Oh, really?
And I actually had a meeting with them, like an in-person meeting. Well, it's not an in-person meeting. You go into the room and then like they're all on the screens. Yeah, like a giant like Legion of Doom type situation.
Yeah,
and I actually told them that if they put that clause in my contract, I would not hire Hans Zimmer anymore. And then they agreed to not cut off my company black card.
That's good, well, because you really cost us a lot of money hiring Hans Zimmer every year.
Well, we still got him for 2 years because I already, I already hired him for 2026 and 2027.
And I'm assuming that the committee is aware of that.
Yeah, that actually is what those emails were about because I tried to explain to them that he actually gave us a 3.7% discount because we hired him for 2 years.
That's all we got was a 3.7% discount.
That's better than the 0% we were getting. They had these same concerns, and I didn't understand, but we got it all worked out.
Okay. You know what? Fuck it. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I also think the limit on my corporate card was cut down to like $42 or something.
They said we'll give this motherfucker enough for some popcorn
and some gas to get there,
and some gas to get to the movies,
and that's about it. Yeah.
Well, all right, homies. That's gonna be all for now. We have had a blast with this, but we will see you guys again very soon. But until next time, my name is Superhero Homie Q.
I'm Superhero Homie Caleb.